Hey, this is going to be the worst Christmas ever. What's up? It's the Culture Detective here investigating your favorite albums. And today I'm going to do my second album review, of course, my second album review, and that would be Taylor Swift's latest surprise album, Evermore. So, Taylor Swift is not letting me do list week. I originally planned to start doing list week on December 19th ish, but because there's the Taylor Swift, the Avalanches, there's still a bunch of movies I want to talk about, I have to delay it, but I'll manage. Anyways, Taylor Swift, epic, explosive, super popular, super duper famous, very drama tinged pop artist, singer, songwriter. She is back after releasing another album earlier this year, Folklore, which is a pretty pleasant surprise where instead of the usual pop mainstream aesthetic that Taylor Swift embarks on, she ventures more into the simple, stripped back, bare bones folk pop, and it really worked out for her. Even though a bunch of the tracks on Folklore are kind of bland and kind of forgettable, Taylor Swift still managed to surprise us because, hey, it's not a bad album. Not a bad album at all. Even before that, we have Lovers, which is, half and half. In one side, there are some good tracks, and the other side, there are some bland, repetitive tracks that are borderline cringy. And on Taylor Swift's even more previous album, Reputation, now we have entered the cringe territory. But, anyways, let's go back to Evermore, where she had returned with another 15 tracks, 1 hour long of music. And she did not run out of any ideas at all. She still has it. And I actually like this a little, just a tiny, teeny bit more than Folklore. And I'm surprised. I'm honestly pleasantly surprised. The album starts off with Willow, which is a simplistic, sweet little ballad. It sounds nice, but it's not that compelling or surprising of an album opener. Afterwards, we have Champagne Problems, which is easily one of the best songs in the entire album. It's a very quiet, very silent, very stripped back, pure piano song with beautiful piano chords, pained lyrics, very sincere vocals, and the vibe of the track is just very Taylor Swift-esque, and it sounds fantastic. The next track, Gold Rush, has a clean production, but I don't mind it at all. It's still great. There's a tiny beat, and the melodies are very catchy. It's very poppy and rosy, and it's a highlight on the album as well. The track Kiss the Damn Season is a bit of a drab, bland song. The overblown bass and the illogical instrumental swell at the end makes this track kind of head scratching and confusing, and the track tolerated while I really like the 5/4 time signature and the electronic embellishments on this track, which is pretty creative. This track still didn't come together all that well. We got the pulsating beats, we got the breathy lead vocals, and it's just not that compelling or engaging of a track in my opinion. However, Nobody No Crime featuring Haim, that rhymes, is one of the highlights on the album for me. It is a rocky, country-esque pop song with a really catchy verses and choruses, very dramatic tone where the lyrics is about a murder mystery. Yeah, the chorus is a little bit repetitive. I know he did it, but I just don't have proof. I know he did it, but I just don't have any proof. Yeah, it's a little repetitive, but I think musically it is amazing as well. The track Happiness is a slow burn, stripped back, string backed song, and it's about transitioning out of a relationship with very lush, delicate instrumentals. Still, not that memorable of a track, very typical for the album. The track Dorothea is also almost like an extension of the previous track. It is a slow piano song, and the chorus Dorothea is a little drab. But moving on, we have Coney Island featuring the Dessner brothers, aka the Nationals. And this track is very plain and generic, unfortunately. The track doesn't have any progression, and there is little to no chemistry between the Desner brothers and Taylor Swift herself. The Desners sound so deep and low pitched, and Taylor Swift is not very high pitched, but is more smooth and calming, and they just don't fit together at all. One of them sounds really stern. The Nationals, they sound really stern and icy, and then Taylor Swift is smooth. And it's not like they contrast each other at all, because at the same time they're trying to go for calming sounds, and it just didn't work at all. Next up, we have Ivy, which is a hopeful, plucky piece of folk that feels like music from an ad. It's kind of bland, it's kind of boring. The track Cowboy Like Me is also kind of typical and boring as a slow dance folk song. However, the album ends off pretty damn strongly with Long Story Short, which is a pretty charismatic track with some really nice synths and nice beats and very good lyrics about moving on from the past, which is something that I'm still working on. Marjorie is a track where Taylor Swift pays tribute to her grandmother, and lyrics is great. It's beautiful, and I also like the instrumentals, which are twittery, layered, dense. Next up, we have Closure, where once again Taylor Swift sort of plays a little bit with electronic sounds. Again, song in 5/4 time signature. And the way the song started off with these cycling, crushing industrial sounds is pretty weird, but the sputtering beats, the instrumentals at the end, still really nice and clean. And at the very, very end of the album, we have the title track featuring Bon Iver, or Justin Vernon. And it is a very great ending to the album. Again, beautiful, gorgeous pianos and strings. And halfway through the track, the tempo changes and it becomes this very fiery and dramatic vocal trading between Justin and Taylor, and they're just trading lines, and it's very dramatic. The instrumentals swell. It's a very beautiful and conclusive ending to the album. So, yeah, overall, I like this album quite a bit. More than Folklore, anyways. Again, tracks in the middle, a little boring. I have to admit, a little boring. But aside from that, I detect no cringe in this album. I detect no silliness or sloppiness in this album. I see some good writing here and there, and really well written songs as well. I am giving Taylor Swift's Evermore a strong 6 out of 10. This is the most positive sounding 6 I've ever given. But yeah, again, pleasant surprise. Looking forward to her next project. My favorite track here is Champagne Problems. Least favorite? Tis the Dame Season. So, have you listened to the latest Taylor Swift album? From 1 to 10, how much you rate it, like if you like it, and subscribe if you want more, and thanks for watching. I will review 2 more albums this year, JJ Lin from Singapore, and The Avalanches' We Will Always Love You, and then I will start doing List Week on December 21st, or 22nd, and I'll still be doing double uploads until sometime soon. I don't know. Christmas is gone. I'm not going to celebrate Christmas this year. So I'll be staying at home, reviewing music, making lists. It's going to be boring. Yay.